It's that time of the week. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Some people call me a globetrotter. Some people call me Mr. Worldwide. Some people call me quite annoying. Either way, I have lived in Vietnam for 7 whole years and I have traveled up and down the country. I have also been to Japan 4 times and stayed in metropolitan areas like Tokyo and Osaka, while visiting smaller cities like Matsumoto and Onomichi. In this video, I want to give my unique insights on the habitability of these 2 countries.
Seriously, look at that view. That's fantastic.
Hello, I'm in a different room for this segment. As a child, the idea of a tropical paradise seemed so distant. I was a Kentish lad stuck in England, going to France and Scotland for holidays. Not just me, but everyone I went to school with was the same. You read the holiday brochures, you see the travel programs on the telly, you hear stories from distant relatives at family gatherings, but the only way I could experience a tropical paradise is through an active imagination. After finishing university, I stumbled upon an English teaching job in Ho Chi Minh City, and I never looked back. Most of my friends at school ended up being cleaners, care home workers, unemployed, and then there's me living my best life. For me, Vietnam is an adventure that doesn't end. Every day I can live the tropical paradise I envisioned a decade prior. Hot weather and palm trees, you gotta love them. I find the people there to be very special. The Vietnamese are especially friendly and hospitable. I find that the young people there have the passion to strive for a positive future. Meanwhile, the expats are a mixed bunch. To move to Vietnam, you need to either be incredibly audacious and brave, or an absolute nutcase. You'll meet some unique characters for sure. Then there is the cost of living. Most things are as cheap as chips. A 2-bedroom apartment can cost between 10 and 20 million dong a month. There are many deluxe apartments in outer suburbs that are very affordable. Food is generally 30,000 dong to 60,000 dong a meal. As great as life in Vietnam is for me, I'm aware that some locals do not live such a comfortable life. But as a foreigner, it's so easy to live a very comfortable life surrounded by trustworthy individuals. When it comes to negatives, Vietnam is often very polluted, particularly Hanoi and Haiphong. That being said, there's a strong adoption of electric vehicles in recent years, as well as eco-friendly communities on the suburbs of these massive cities. It's promising, but there's still some way to go. Traffic can also be a little bit overwhelming, specifically in Hanoi. Some drivers are very unhinged and are unfazed about not waking up. Look past these things and Vietnam is simply the best. Better than all the rest.
David,
nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Japan is the closest to a fairy tale or an alien planet that someone from England can visit. Just to think, they were isolated from the world and fighting with swords for hundreds of years. Being so distant from British waters, it's safe to say that not many British people get to go to the land of the rising sun. Yet I have been 4 times, but why is that? When I get a holiday, I can go anywhere. Why Japan? Well, one thing is that it's a hobbyist's dream. As a record collector, there are 100 record stores in Japan. Whether it's vintage clothes, Pokemon cards, or anime figures, the Japanese selection is enormous and mostly mint condition. Another benefit is the tranquility that everyday life brings. Even in an urban metropolis, a morning run or an evening stroll is filled with calm and serenity. It's a picturesque and entirely unique country which is at the top of many people's to travel before you die lists. From the hustle and bustle of Tokyo to the beaches of Okinawa to the powerful remnants of Hiroshima. Personally, the main negative for Japan is that society is socially repressive and tame. Wherever you go in Japan, there are rules everywhere. Warnings all the time. Do I need to be told that if I'm pregnant, I need to take care when using an escalator 3 times? Is eating when walking really that bad? Do I really have to put a gozaimasu on the end of my arigatos? It's these hundreds of rules and the societal expectations that make living in Japan quite restrictive. You silently go to work. At work, you overwork. Then you travel home, you don't look anyone in the eye. And then you fall asleep watching some weird anime. Everything is the same every day and life can be quite grating.
There's only one way to find out.
And now for the ultimate comparison. Each category I will add points to the victorious country. The topics are relevant for people that desire to live in these locations. So let's do this. Food. Japan has sushi, ramen, and wagyu beef. On the other hand, Vietnam has mi quang, banh mi, pho, bun bo hue. Each locality of both countries have different delicacies, so comparing them is ridiculously subjective. It is kind of cheeky to give the points to Vietnam, but you can get really high quality Japanese food in Vietnam for way less than it costs in Japan. So, pollution. This is an easy one. Japan has very clean air. It doesn't make life unlivable in Vietnam, but you just need to make sure to buy an air purifier. It's the best investment that money can buy. Friendliness. Japan may be the most polite nation in the world. When you leave a store, they will bow 100 times. But few nations in the world are as friendly and as outgoing as the Vietnamese. If you fall off your motorbike, 3 strangers will help you back up. There's a collective spirit of helping thy neighbor, which I respect. Okay, a tangential example of this would be the YouTuber Fat and Broke was spat on by the Saigon Spitter, and a random Vietnamese motorbike driver helped him track him down. Japanese people can also be outgoing, but they can also be racist. So, safety. Japan is incredibly safe, with the main dangers being tsunamis and earthquakes. There's very little crime, but it's actually the same in Vietnam as well. Vietnam is very strict on crime, so the only things you have to worry about are stray dogs, phone snatchers, and traffic accidents. But when talking about crime, I think Vietnam and Japan are equally as safe. Cost of living. As you can see, I added 3 points for Vietnam instead of 2 because I just think this is a really important subject if you're going to be living in the country. The cost of living in Japan is okay. It's a little bit expensive here and there, but it's not as bad as, let's say, England. Rent in a major city costs a lot. But then again, food and travel can be decently priced. Coach trips can negate the high cost of a Shinkansen. Meanwhile, as mentioned earlier, Vietnam has a very low cost of living. So if you want that high life, it is feasible. So if you want to live in a private neighborhood, you want to eat Korean food every day, you want to drink Starbucks for breakfast, it's all possible. Saving money is also possible, and having any spare money in the 21st century is quite an achievement. The environment. It's no secret that Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world. There is no litter and you can drink the tap water. Vietnam is sadly not the same. There's a lot of litter, you can't drink the tap water, and the river is sometimes black. It doesn't affect daily life, but it's far from idyllic. Domestic travel. Japan has incredible infrastructure. The Tokyo Metro is truly magnificent, and the Shinkansens are world renowned for their speed and convenience. Domestic travel in Vietnam lacks infrastructure, but it is still one of the easiest countries to travel about. You can jump on a motorbike taxi, take a domestic flight, take an overnight bus. It's beyond easy. Local tourism. Most would think that Japan would win this hands down, but actually, Vietnam has many holiday destinations up and down the country. We have Hoi An, Hue, Da Nang, Hanoi, Saigon, Mekong Delta, Vung Tau, Sapa, Dalat, Nha Trang, Phu Quoc, Ninh Bình, and the Haiphong Pass. At the same time, Japan has the Shimanami Kaido bicycle ride, one of the best in the world, and it has mountains in Nagano. At the end of the day, Vietnam is better for the holidays that are more like adventures that leave long-lasting memories in your mind. Japan tourism is about booking the Pot Noodle Museum a week before and then getting herded around like cattle. International tourism. One of the national airlines of Vietnam is called Vietjet. They provide cheap tickets to many Asian destinations like Taiwan, Singapore, Cambodia, Thailand, and Australia. Therefore, a great allure of residing in Vietnam is that whenever there is a holiday, you can travel to many incredible destinations. Japan only has one real amazing benefit, and that is how easy it is to travel to the United States of America. Work. If you live in either country, you're going to need a source of income. The jobs in Vietnam are not as good as they were 5 years ago, but there's a lot of job opportunities available, including chances for job advancement, as well as jobs in ESL centers and international schools. Japan is highly competitive and they will work you to the bone. Not only this, but at the end of each month you will have less spare money.
The audience voting at home have awarded you 216 points!
Let's add up the points, and it's closer than I thought. Japan has 14 points, while Vietnam has 15 points. My conclusion is that both countries are some of the best places to live in the world. If you want fun and adventure, come to Vietnam. If you want a chill existence, then you should live in Japan. My ranking for big cities would be Saigon and Da Nang number 1, Tokyo and Osaka number 2, and then Hanoi number 3. What I hope you take away from this video is that, yeah, a lot of YouTubers idolize Japan, but actually there are other countries in the world which are just as good, if not better. My current status of living in Vietnam and visiting Japan annually is what Miley Cyrus describes as the best of both worlds. So my personal conclusion is that both Vietnam and Japan are really awesome places. So that's the video. Whether you are a Viet Cong or a Cong Viet, whether you are Weeaboo or you boo the Wee, you should subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
僕が小さい時ママに聞いたお話です